All right, barrel and bladers, look what just came in the mail. It's time for our April 2025 Super unboxing. So let's open this thing up and see what we got this month. What's up guys, Eric here with ATHOME in the Future, and I'm back with another barrel and blade super unboxing. We're going to check out two different subscriptions in the same video, although this may be a first because I believe they both came in the same box this month. As typical with us, we're going to try to start with the normal monthly subscription, so if you're unfamiliar with barrel and blade, really cool one to get. Prepping gear, tactical gear, survival gear, all sorts of stuff. Comes in two different flavors. There's a level 1 box, which is about 50 bucks a month, comes with some cool stuff. Level 2 is kind of their premium box, comes with a lot more stuff or just better versions of the normal stuff. Anyway, if you want to get that subscription for yourself, you can follow the link on the screen or down in the description and save yourself a little bit of money. We're going to open this thing up. I'm really not sure how this one is going to play out before us, since it seems like both are in the same box. Let's see if we can open it up and put one to the side and start. All right, so there's Operation 94. It looks like our knife of the month is here. I'm going to guess in this. So I'm going to put this over and we're going to go through Operation 94. All right, it looks like this is an emergency theme box. It says tornado season is here. Yes, it is. Gosh, in Tennessee, we got walloped last week. Hurricane season's here. This is stuff to help you stay safe and comfortable. So lots of different stuff. As you can see, level 1's all down the right, level 2's on the left. I'm gonna pull everything out and then we'll kind of go through it together. So here we go. All right, so there's all of our items to take a look through. And we'll start with, from ATHOME, we have the Odyssey Emergency Radio. This says this one is worth $100. And something I noticed right off the bat is it says this has Bluetooth, which is maybe a first I've seen for these emergency radios. So it looks like you kind of have all the standard things, a crank to power things up, maybe even a little solar panel here, a flashlight, USB-C charging, that's nice. It looks like it was kind of in transit. The box opened up a little bit, so let's take a look at this thing. Definitely a little bit more robust than maybe the typical emergency radios we've had before. So there's your solar panel. Not like one of the cheapo glued on ones. It actually seems like it's a little bit nicer, and even just being near a window in my room right here, it's picking up this little red light is lighting up just from the solar hitting that. So we have our crank built into it, but you can see that thing generating power too. When I hit it, looks like we have our radio antenna. And you know what, I'm just gonna push power and see what happens, because I bet it's got a little bit of a charge in it. Maybe not, maybe it does need to charge up some. So let's see if there's anything else interesting to know here. Yeah, it says it's Bluetooth ready with an auxiliary in and a built-in alarm clock, AAA battery backup, which I like. Interesting, I'm kind of puzzled about the Bluetooth stuff. I wonder if it's supposed to double as like a Bluetooth speaker. That'd be an interesting feature to have in something like this. Let me look at the back of the box. Yeah, just in general, a lot more feature rich than the normal survival radios you see. So, okay, cool. That's a pretty big item to receive right off the bat here. Let's keep on going. We have the Kershaw Barstow, so I guess some sort of knife here. I noticed when I pulled this out, that name doesn't ring a bell right off the bat. Actually, it looks like I can just slide this open without cutting a seal, so that's nice. All right, so look at this guy. Got a nice looking EDC blade. Very cool design here. Looks like it is a flipper. Let's open that up. Cool, kind of a dagger style with a dark treatment on the blade. Very cool kind of dual flipper and choil here. I'm guessing G10 scales. It is a liner lock. 8CR13 MOV, not my favorite still, but for a little EDC knife, that's pretty great. It's assisted, okay. See how it's going in and out there? That's something I didn't catch, so I'm just gonna barely pop it out. Yeah, check that out. So it just pops right open with a little bit of effort. It's loosening up more every time I do it. Very cool, I like the blue accents there. We've got a little bit of jimping on the like flipper and stuff. Cool little spacers down here and rivets. It is a deep carry clip. All right, I like this little thing. Yeah, it says no slip grip and a black wash finish. That is a cool little EDC knife. I feel like Barrel and Blade, more than the other subscriptions I get, do a really good job for like, even their budget knives are normally pretty cool. So I dig that. Okay, next up from UCO, we have the Eco 4-piece mess kit worth $22. That's this guy right here. It looks like we have some plates and forks and little spoons and stuff like that. I'm going to use this knife to pop the seal on this. Seal it up with some little zip ties. All right, so I'm guessing this unfolds into maybe 2 different plates. And then we've got their little kind of sport tool. It has a fork, has a spoon, has a little kind of serrated-ish, knife-ish edge. In practice for me, unless it's really soft stuff, that little serration doesn't do very much. I've got a few of these in my camping kits. They are nice if you have several of them. You can kind of tie them together through these little holes. Which I'm guessing, I'm not really sure what this is for. Let me look at that part of it. Okay, it says this is a bowl, a plate, a spork, and then this is like a tether, I guess, to keep things all together. once you close it up and everything. I guess that threads through the holes there on the outside. Not the fanciest mess kit, but typically these things, you know, your grandpa probably had one. It's just a piece of metal with a little clasp on the edge. So kind of a plastic modern take on that. Next up from UCO, we have a few different things here. Lots of fire starting tools and a candle and all that stuff. So we have 12 weatherproof hurricane matches. Something we see often in subscription boxes, but still pretty awesome. So you get this little watertight tube, which is funny because I don't necessarily need it because these things are pretty crazy stuff here. So I'm going to slide some of these out. I'm not going to light these on video because they will not go out. That's the perk of them. You can even put them underwater and they'll keep going. They're made of kind of like a sulfur material though that smells absolutely terrible. So make sure you only use these outside. Don't light your Yankee candles with these bad boys. Get a few of those and it looks like maybe a little fire starter brick within that. So those are good to have. And also down the list, let's see. So yeah, that's their fire starting kit. That was worth $6. And they have these biofuel tabs, a 24 pack of these worth about $5.29. That's what these things are, which I think is kind of this little insert that was in here. I think this is a version of those things just already kind of pre-made in there. So you got some refills right there to use. And then along the same lines, we have some 9-hour candles. We got 3 of those, typically just unscented candles. It looks like they're made for lanterns and everything, but you can also use them on their own. Again, candles don't run out of batteries and they pretty much keep forever as long as you don't put them in a hot spot. So useful to have. And then last but not least, we've got one of these camp cups, which is funny. I've seen several variations on this. There's one that has like a collapsible bottom. That's kind of handy, I guess, but I actually like this fully plastic one a little bit better. So as you're kind of throwing together your emergency kit, you need some stuff to heat up your MREs and drink your Tang or whatever else. Having these things is nice to have. Worth $5. Throw it in your emergency kit, throw it in your camping stash, and you're good to go. But that is this month's monthly box from Barrel and Blade. Awesome survival radio, a pimped out one with like Bluetooth and stuff. It's pretty cool. Got a mess kit, we got a cup, we got all this fire starting stuff, and an awesome little EDC knife from Kershaw too. So lots of cool stuff. Again, if you want to get the subscription for yourself, just follow the link on the screen or down in the description and save yourself a little bit of money. But anyway, let's clear this stuff out of the way and we're going to move on to this month's Knife of the Month Club. So here we go. All right, keeping the party going, we have this month's Knife of the Month Club subscription. Again, totally different subscription. It's about $100 a month, but they always promise you a knife that's worth way more than that. We've had a huge assortment of knives over the years. Swords, little ones, big ones, fixed blades. I feel like we've been kind of on a roll lately with some more smaller to medium size or even some large size EDC knives, which is maybe what they've kind of settled into with this subscription, which I wouldn't be mad about at all because they've been awesome. Anyway, if you want to get the subscription for yourself, follow the link on the screen or down in the description. Let's open this thing up. Again, this is the first month since I subscribed to both of their things that they've come in the same package. So we still get the envelope and everything in here, but it was kind of buried inside. So let's take a peek. All right, so we have another Kershaw, which we got a Kershaw in the plain Jane box. Let's see what we got here. So we have the Kershaw Link Magna Cut with olive stonewash. I'm excited about that. So again, $100 subscription, and we just got a $200 knife. All right, I'm pretty excited to see this. I'm not familiar off the top of my head with the Link. So let's check this bad boy out. Magna Cut has me excited. All right, so check out this blade here. There's that olive finish. Feels like maybe aluminum scales. Oh, there's a little silica packet here. And it looks like it may be an assisted open knife. So let's hit it. Oh, silky smooth opening and everything. It is a liner lock. Made in the USA, Magna Cut steel, very cool. Little American flag badging there on the blade. Super awesome. Deep carry clip. Looks like it's ambidextrous, so you can move it around. All right, very comfortable. Big belly on the blade too. Look how deep that is. I still have, let's see, I've got the knife over here that we just opened up in the cheaper monthly box. You can see how much bigger just the belly is in that thing, and the profile of it is quite a bit different. Really dig that. All right, let's see a little bit more about this. I don't know much about this knife. Magna Cut, as you know, if you're a knife person, is pretty awesome. It's kind of taken the knife world by storm over the last few years. Like they say here, exceptional edge retention, toughness, corrosion resistance. And it says optimized hardness at 62 to 64 HRC. I feel like there's been additions of all sorts of different famous EDC knives of Magna Cut, so that's awesome. We do have an anodized aluminum handle, and it's got that assisted opening. So yeah, let's open that back up here. Just pops right out, very little effort, especially for such a chunky boy. Normally with a flipper like that, you might have to put a little bit more exertion into it to open it up. that thing just flies right open. So that thing is pretty awesome. Again, it is definitely a bigger knife. I wouldn't call this just by looking at it like a big knife necessarily, but it kind of straddles that line right between medium and large size. Got kind of a deep choil there. No jimping or anything on the back, but because, well, I guess it does a little bit on the back spacer now that I'm seeing that. But because of how it sits in your hand here, your thumb kind of falls down just in this little groove and sits there nicely. So I guess instead of that jumping kind of providing resistance, you've got this like natural ergonomic kind of seat here for your thumb to go into. Same thing with the choil there, that flipper on the back, your fingers kind of catching on that and everything. But just a really attractive, cool blade there. For me, the green and the stone wash works really well together, especially like the USA badging and everything with Magna Cut. Man, that is super cool. And I feel like Barrel and Blade has been on a tear with this stuff. Last month, we got that Demco knife and everything that was like a $250 knife. Just the value of this has been absurd. I don't know how they're getting these deals with the subscription, but again, if you're a knife person, this is definitely what you want. A little lanyard hole down here too. So awesome, USA made knife, Magna Cut, very cool design. Barrel and Blade is killing it with this subscription. Again, if you want to get the subscription for yourself, you can follow the link on the screen or down in the description and save yourself a little bit of money on that. But if you like sharp stuff, this is the subscription to get, and I don't think you will be disappointed whatsoever. All right, guys, that's it for this month's Super Unboxing. As always, if you dug the video, be sure to hit the like button because it helps the channel out a ton, and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, and I'll see you guys next time.